Whip on the low, this is your friend James. I want to talk to you about racism in Star Trek. I would love to have used the pictures and screenshots and stuff like that, you know, just an actual, so you know, but you don't have to watch the movie on your own, because last time I did that and used a picture of the Indominus Rex, it got taken down because of copyright issues. And so if you want to re-upload this video, you know, and put the pictures in yourself, have at it. But the reason is I'm not going to do that because I was talking about creating an Indominus Rex, which is like, you know, you create socialism and it takes over and it kills people. You do it with communism, it takes over, it kills people. Just, you know, things that people create, they create their own problems. But I want to talk about racism in Star Trek, so I will not be able to use, you know, and I won't use the pictures, so you can go ahead and watch the movie. I do suggest you do it. I got this movie several weeks ago, and I did watch it, and I was like, instantly, Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, is a perfect depiction of racism. Even when Chekhov said, guess who's coming to dinner, look who's coming to dinner. You know that was actual motion picture? I believe Sidney Poitier was a black person who came to dinner with the white people. And so it was like, this is like, whoever wrote that movie was like a genius. And I wanted to talk about it because it seemed with recent events, I was trying not to, over a month ago when I saw the movie, I wanted to do this, but I do feel impressed. We should go through this motion picture. Racism in Star Trek, specifically Star Trek 6, and there's 11 people. The 12th is just straight up pure wicked. I couldn't actually find someone in the motion picture who was like pure wicked and evil. But let's start with one logic-driven Spock. It's just logical. We should be working together. So when people address racial issues and stuff, this is like, it seems like, you know, they're just, you know, Spock was not Klingon, Spock was not human. So the Klingons were not at war with the Vulcans. So there's just pure logic, you know, it's just like, y'all should be working together. It's just like, but he's coming from a purely logical perspective, a purely academic perspective. And it's wonderful, you know, but, you know, he didn't expect an assassination, he didn't expect anything. He was just like, let's do this, it'll work, you know, and, you know, all people are honorable and stuff like that, so we should go for this initiative. So you have people who are logically driven. So, 2, visionary, Gorkin. You know, it's time to start working together. Chancellor Gorkin, we must move forward. He is the person with the vision, with the dream. The Klingon, they said the Klingon thing had like roughly 50 years left of life to it. We need to go ahead and work together. I mean, maybe his idea was a little much about dismantling the star bases and, you know, getting rid of all the military and defunding the police. Gotcha. But I mean, seriously, not you, but who thought. Anyways, you know, he's like, he's just a visionary. Let's do this. Maybe he didn't think it through because he was rushing through it as quick as possible, but he is the visionary. When something happened to his people, he is trying to ensure the life of his people. As a Klingon, he is trying to ensure the life of his people in the best way possible. He didn't want his people to go to war. He didn't want his people to burn down cities. He didn't want people to riot and go to battle like they were saying, let's go to war. So he was a visionary. Then we have 3, experienced and honorable. This is Kirk. He is an experienced person. He had past experience with the Klingons, fighting them and other things like that. And even Star Trek 5, you know, when the man attacked for no reason. But his son was killed. And so he had experience with the Klingons, bad experience, but this is where you get prejudice, is when you go for the whole group, you prejudice, oversimplify. That's what immature people, they oversimplify the whole group. So what he never thought to take Gorkin at his word. He said he never thought about taking Gorkin at his word because of his past experiences with Klingons. Of course, it wasn't his past experience with people like Gorkin. He says, Gorkin said, I know you don't trust me, I don't blame you, or you don't believe me. He said, who would? If there was anyone to live, if any generation was going to live in a new time of peace, theirs would be the hardest, because Kirk had past experience. That man, that evil, wicked person, murdered his child. And so, but he was honorable because, you know, he never would commit murder, even though the thought, he said he was terrified, but he would never commit murder. He was going to do his job. So that's someone who had experience, but he was honorable. He even put down the death of his son instead of trying to cause problems and hinder it. He went along with Spock. He was an honorable person. So Kirk was experienced but honorable. Then we have experienced and dishonorable. General Chang, he's a battle-hardened general, so obviously he must have went through a whole bunch of stuff concerning the Federation. I mean, he's like the top general, but he was willing to commit murder to address his fear. Kirk, he said it terrified him, but he was not going to commit murder and even join in that conspiracy, because he was honorable. That's why they probably left him out. But anyways, and that's why they were trying. But you know, even the people who started it were expecting Kirk. They were expecting Kirk to act wrongly, and so they you know, those I guess you would call that. That could be the 12th one. Would be the instigators. I should write that down. You got the instigators. I'll throw that in there. You have the instigators. I should write that down really so I can put it in the notes. But anyways, you have the instigators. They put Kirk in that position knowing that hopefully he would blow that ship to bits and that would be the end of it. So you got instigators. So we got experienced and dishonorable. That's Chang. He was willing to commit murder. He was willing to sacrifice Kirk's life. He was willing to sacrifice the lives of everybody on that ship. He was willing to sacrifice the lives of the people when they went to war. So that's a dishonorable person. They had experience in, for instance, racism, you know, between this Klingons versus what's his face, the humans, and he was willing to do murder. The 5, the idealist. This is the president of United Federation of Planets. He really has no idea what's going on and sticks with the law, but without knowledge or understanding. Kirk's going to save our country by standing trial. What type of nonsense is that? I mean, wake up, dude. You should have went to war and stopped that. Sorry, the Klingons were not in position to even dictate. What's his name? That's someone else. I use that. There's his curve. But the president, he was a pure idealist. It was like, this is going to work and wonderful. I mean, you know, this is going to work and stuff like that. But he said, we're going to do an investigation. It's great for him to wait and stuff and do an investigation. But he just fell in the thing of a pure idealist. This is going to work out for the good. This is just going to work out. Like people who think it's going to work out and hope, but they don't bother to do any pray. But so the president was an idealist. So he's just like, man, that's bad. But you know what? We're going to stick with the law and do what happens. Well, you need wisdom, because look what happened. They still, when this little battle happened anyway. Are you aware that Kittimer is inside the Bible? You can go look at that. That actual word is in the Bible. Why do you think that stuff is so powerful? Anyways, number 6, we have the opportunist. This is a Romulan. It's like, this is time to, he's not even involved. But that's like someone who's like, let's sell some shirts. So, let's make some money off of this. Let's put this all over our TV channel so that the advertisers can come and watch. People even did that with COVID, They'll talk about it just so people can watch their video. But this is an opportunist, dude. We can make some money off this. What do the Romulans have to do with anything? They're trying to get the best economic decision with them is joining with the people who are going to, cause problems. So you got the opportunists with the Romulans. Then you got the 7, the ignorant people. Valeris, though she was smart and young and understood the situation, the facts, she was indeed only a puppet. So that means even though she could see there's a problem and she's trying to talk to Spock and get him to understand her way, she didn't realize that she was pure puppet of people who were really bent on destruction. She would not have joined that if she'd known that, say, a war could have actually started. She didn't actually think a war could start. She thought that it would actually work. And her limited knowledge, she actually thought, and even it's bad too because she justified herself in murdering those 2 people when the things were coming down. I don't want to kill you, Spock. What you want is irrelevant. What you've chosen is at hand. So but she didn't understand. What she wanted was to fix the issue, but she was not able to. So, because she was ignorant, and that's why you need to have wisdom. So, Valeris was ignorant of the situation. She thought she understood the situation, but she did not realize the intent of it. That's why they said they weren't going to press charges on her, because she was really she was a pawn and became a pawn. She became a puppet willingly. 8, oblivious, stuck in the middle. Now, this is McCoy. We have people who are actually stuck in the middle. McCoy had nothing to do with that, but they were willing to sacrifice him. You got the Chekhov and what's the black lady's name? She was really funny on Star Trek 3. Oh Lord, what's the black character name? Uhura! Uhura! And Sulu, look at all these people who are caught in the mix of this whole racism thing, and they had nothing to do. They about to retire. She was going to chair a sermon at academy. Scotty was gonna just bought a boat. I mean, come on. These people are ready to retire and enjoy life, and they're stuck in the middle of this thing. Come on. McCoy as a doctor, he's trying to save the life of the person, and they're going to send him to Rua Pinte to die. So you got people who are oblivious, and they're stuck in the middle. Just like with this racial stuff in the United States of America, people trying to fan the flames, that's what instigators are. I really should write that down, instigators. But you actually have people who are stuck in the middle and trying to maintain, they're not involved. McCoy's kid didn't die. Sulu's his daughter wasn't killed by, the Klingons, and so they didn't have any of this stuff, but now they're being brought into the mix by these two powers who are trying to go, someone's trying to do right, someone's trying to do wrong. Let's continue. Number 9, we already discussed this sort of, but there's mature people. Kirk, he's willing to change no matter what. He said, we all felt bad. McCoy said we all felt bad. And Kirk's like, no. Someone felt a lot worse, and he's able to understand why. He says that in the movie but he was mature enough to start seeing, and that's why he changed and went for truth. A mature person finds out what's really going on, doesn't listen to the words. I mean, he could have been immature. I mean, after Chang did that to him, he could have said, forget them all. And I mean, he could have changed over, but a mature person doesn't change. A mature person doesn't go into violence. A mature person looks at evil and foresees evil and avoids it, like the Bible says. So he was mature. He was willing to change no matter how much it scared him. He was willing to do his job. That's a mature person. During racial stuff, you need to be mature. You can't be immature. Immature person, Admiral Cartwright, he wasn't willing to change. He said, it's time to bring them to their knees. Then we'll be in a better position to dictate terms. Brock Peters is an awesome actor. He was actually in To Kill a Mockingbird, which I quit watching. So, and Chang said, no peace in our time. So these people were immature. They were not willing to change. They could not see. They did not even want to entertain what Gorkin said. Even the other people who were like, let's go to war and stuff like that. They were not willing to change. Then we got casualties. Gorkin was the #1 casualty. He was assassinated. And all the people who died during that space fight. There are people who are dying. Active participants, non-active participants. Remember when we had the riots? All those people who died? Come on, guys. These are casualties of a battle. And these people had nothing to do with it. Gorkin, of course, he was the instigator. He could have walked in wisdom probably and realize that some people really might move to death and murder to stop him from bringing peace, but there are casualties, and there are certain people who are actual casualties, and we actually had some in the United States of America, and of course we had the police officers and stuff who were shot and targeted and other things like that, and businesses of people, that 40-year-old business, what was it in, I'm not going to say the name of the place, but it was burned down and destroyed. They're a casualty, they're not even involved. I remember one person, it was in this dude in Hong Kong, Joshua Wong posted a picture of the person. Someone came in, he was just a regular guy, he was minding his own business, and some police force came in and beat up everybody, and he's like, he didn't even understand what was going on. So he was a pure casualty. He wasn't part of it, he didn't know what was going on, and he was a casualty. So you got that's another group of people who get caught up in this problem. Of course, that wasn't actually racism, that's, communism versus free world, democracy. Anyways, we have and the 12th person we already talked about is the instigator. There are some people who are just wicked and evil, and they just like to fight and they like problems. They're filled with hate. They don't want to forgive. They don't want to reconcile. They were taught hate by their parents. They like it. Makes them feel good. Makes them feel wonderful. Makes them feel great. Gives them a card they can use against people, and they're taking advantage of the situation. So you do have that in there. So racism in Star Trek 6 is logic driven. Spock, it's logical, we should be working out. There's 2, the visionary Gorkin, it's time to start working together, we must move forward. Then there's 3, the experienced and honorable. They had bad experience in the past, but they're still going to walk in honor. That's Kirk. There's experience number 4, the experienced and dishonorable, Chang. He had experience, but he was still willing to commit murder. to deal with his fear. 5, there's the idealist, the president. He was just didn't know what was going on. You know, we have a beautiful, you know, I'm sorry, guys. He was a good actor too. I like him too. But he was like, I mean, he went from the, on that one Star Trek 4, he went from working at the helm to being the president. I mean, come on, guys. No, but I think it was 2 different people. I don't know. But anyways, he's just idealist. This is great. This is wonderful, you know, utopia. We all can work together. That's just, you know, the idealist really didn't know what was going on, but he knows there's a silver lining. Then there's number 6, the opportunist, which is Romney. He didn't care, man, we can make some cash, we can get on the right side of the war and stuff like that so we can preserve our stuff. He's not even involved, but he gets involved. An opportunist gets involved when they shouldn't be. Then you got the ignorant people. Valeris, number 7, thought she was smart, understood, you know, thought she knew, but she was really just a puppet for the people who really knew what was going on. She was young and naive. She had ideals. She wanted to do right. That according to her thought process, but of course that didn't work. Number 8, the oblivious people were stuck in the middle. That's McCoy. Folks, thank God nothing happened to McCoy. Well, but they were stuck in the middle. People, now they have to do this. People have to start working. The ship has to be dispatched. They were supposed to be, you know, retiring and things like that. Now they're stuck in the middle. Then you got the mature people. Kirk, you know, he was willing to change. He was willing to step back, look at the situation, and see this is a logical way to go. Pure thought. The Bible says a wise man answers a matter properly. Actually, the Bible says a foolish man answers a matter before. The Bible says let's be swift to hear and slow to speak. So what does that mean? Foolish person jumps in and starts and you know they done sent off the tweet. I mean, I love President Trump. He just sends he's a business person. I mean, our founding fathers were all business people. But anyways, I just do that and I shouldn't have said that. God forgive me. But anyways, you know, they shoot off the tweet and boom, they just don't care. And, you know, they have a wonderful time doing it. But, you know, but it's like, you know, they're just, you know, what was I even talking about? They were just having, that's why I shouldn't have said that. But anyways, you know, but they were willing to change. Then you got the immature people, you know, oh yeah, the mature people stop and analyze it before they respond. That's what it was. They look at this situation, they respond appropriately. I do like President Trump and things like that, but you know, that's just normal, you know. So the Bible says a wise man, that's what I was talking about. The wise man, you know, is swift to hear, slow to speak. You know, a fool answers a matter before. It's folly to answer a matter before. So Kirk stopped and analyzed it, so he was mature. Immature person, Admiral Cartwright, he wasn't willing to change. He even has facts in his eyes. I mean, even the coronavirus. Go look up the stats. I mean, come on. But you know, Admiral Cartwright, when you're face to face with what particular party's doing what, or what what's behind these people, and look at their mission statement or whatever, you look at the platform of the party you want to vote for. When you come face to face with what they want to do and how they want to live and what they want to create and at what cost they'll use, you know, Admiral Cartwright didn't care. General Chang didn't care. You know, no peace in their time. Bring them to their knees. He was not interested. Even when he's confronted with the fact, like what someone said, even Kirk at the beginning, he said, let them die. So, I mean, so his thoughts, his flesh, you know, he was just thinking to say, but, you know, he didn't do that. But the immature people, they didn't. When they're confronted with facts, they don't care because they're not looking for facts. They're looking for excuses to do what they want to do. Number 11, you have casualties, Gorkin, people who actually died and suffered at the hands, Gorkin specifically, but you have all the people on the ship who died. I mean, come on, things getting blown up, the 2 people who were shot. And of course, if any war were to happen because of it, you know, the casualties, people who died. In fact, they were willing to chain up and bend the middle of those Klingons who were shot. Those Klingons who were shot on the ship, they died. Come on, the medical person died. And they were actually willing to expect Kirk to blow that ship to bits. And the last one, of course, number 12, would be the instigators. Hate-filled people who don't care. Listen, there's someone in every group that's an extreme person that's beyond what you're thinking. Mobs and riots do not take application forms. So you can say you're going to go do this, but they want to pull down the Lincoln statue, knock out the government of the United States of America so they can rule and reign and extort and do themselves. Just like those people, you know, Marx and Mao. I mean, like, hey, listen, we want to work for everybody and get everyone to work together, but instead, really what they want to do is run the country. That's what Hitler did. They all started as a democracy. Next thing you know, he was a chancellor that people lived and died. See? It started wonderful, but I mean, he's a wicked, hateful person. But anyway, so that's it. So racism in Star Trek, the real question of the whole thing is, which one are you? Le movie?